Welcome to Awakening Mindfulness at Work, a conversation that matters. I'm Pierre Cowant.
And I'm Sarah Killeen. We are bringing to you conversations and practices to cultivate presence, calm, and balance in the workplace.
Today, we're talking about something that almost all of us do, and sometimes maybe several times a day, or maybe several times an hour. Any guesses, Sarah? No, I won't. I won't make you guess.
It's gonna.
Oh, you want to
I
guess?
have a feeling it's. Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna have something to do with maybe distractions or like social media or something like that.
You're right on. So the topic today is scrolling. So
Ooh.
imagine this, we're waiting for someone somewhere, we're standing in line, or we finish one task before we start the next one, or in the middle of a task, something challenging comes up, or we get bored. So what do? We, without even thinking about it, we reach to our phone, we open the app, and then another, maybe another, could be social media, could be the news, could be email. And before we know it, minutes, sometimes many minutes, have disappeared. What's fascinating is not that we're scrolling. What's actually fascinating is that many of us don't even remember deciding to scroll or when we actually started scrolling. So today I'd like to explore scrolling with you, and not actually as something like good or bad, but as something we can become curious about and learn so much from. And in this exploration, three questions actually, I have three directions we can go in. The first one, which will be the topic for today's episode, and then the other two will continue with future episodes. So the first one is, what is scrolling actually bringing to us? Like, what positive things, benefits, or needs that are being fulfilled when we scroll? So this will be today's episode, and it's going to be more about the positive thing behind scrolling, like defending scrolling. Like we're the devil's advocates today, and just focusing on the positive. And then in the future episode, what I would like us to go back to is the shadow side, the dark side of scrolling. So what is it really costing us? And then in a later episode, converging into how can we be more intentional. And it's not about eliminating scrolling, but much more about understanding more what's going on for us, how we can approach it more thoughtfully, and how much space we give it. So that's kind of the topic overall. So starting with the positive, anything that comes to your mind?
I I really love this topic, Pierre. I've done my fair bit of research and exploration in the last few years, and I think it's a topic that is more important than ever. Really, noticing how online, how much of online time we're getting, and how glued to our screens sometimes we are. So I think it's a really important topic to understand, why do we do this? So even, beyond what is good or bad about it, it's how do we do it? Why are we doing it? And how conscious are we that we're doing it? And maybe that's the first, positive I might find. And we might have to define really, what scrolling looks like to us. But if you are using Instagram as a means to inspire yourself. If you are a creator, if you are maybe you're an artist, or even if you're not, if you're you or me or anyone out there, and you want to be inspired by what other people are doing, you want to expand your field of what's possible, even though we know that of course the algorithm is biased and you'll mostly um, be exposed to, what is already part of your world, so that kind of limits the benefit of it. But you do get exposed to information and knowledge, and you have that, depending on what is popping up in your feed. You
Mm-hmm.
get this kind of quick hit of dopamine, because also it's so
Mm-hmm.
fast, right? It comes and goes, and it's a bit like fast food in that sense. It's, if you're really hungry in the moment, and I'll compare that to if you're really bored, maybe in the moment, right? You're really bored, or even you're really anxious, and you want to escape your present experience, for even 3 minutes. You just want to escape, distract. You'll get that quick, kind of quick release, quick benefit, from kind of getting absorbed in the platform. Um, so we can
Mm-hmm.
debate on,
Mm-hmm.
again, is that really a benefit, or is it not? But I'd say
That's
that's
episode
what.
two. That's
Yeah,
episode
but that's
two.
what keeps people from. Yeah, that's why people come back to it again and again. Is
Yeah,
it becomes a habit as well, and yeah, um, and an addiction as well. But
I
yeah, that's
think
that's episode 2.
yeah. I think you hit on some really good points, which is getting inspired and learning and being exposed to things that may be new that we didn't know about. I've discovered a lot through social media and other platforms. Learned about books, learned about research, learned about podcasts that are interesting, and see how many people are doing wonderful things, which is really gives us hope that so much is happening and so many people are doing positive things. So that's part of why we go there, is that there is that element of getting more educated, for finding really resources that are relevant, that are hopeful. And actually, our meditation teachers, Jack and Tara, are there, and they're always sharing interesting things, and that keeps us in touch with them. So that's the other part that I feel is also another positive, is that connection part. And that could be connection with specific people or with people we may not know, but we feel connected with because they're aligned with what we're doing or our thinking or where we're hoping to get. So the connection part is another huge one.
Mm. I completely agree with you. I think maybe we are talking about two slightly different topics. There are two different nuances where I really focused on the word scrolling, which might, for me, to me, mean something different than to you. When I think about scrolling, it's really this very fast paced, you know,
Mm,
going through. So in that sense, if I do scroll, I don't think that's when I'm consuming meaningful, information and knowledge. So maybe that's probably me taking the topic too far in terms of thinking about the pace at which we actually are, on the platform. So if we take it back to just being there, right, being there and participating, I completely agree with you. There are huge benefits to,
mhm,
there's a lot of people also who create communities and find belonging, find their community,
mhm,
and develop
mhm,
something a lot bigger, than they would have thought was possible, and they are
mhm,
changing the world in all kinds of ways. They're also spreading some really important information out there that otherwise might have been kept hidden or not be shared with the wider public. So it's a wonderful channel, as well, and like you're
mhm,
saying, it can
mhm,
bring people together. It can really bring people together. So talking about the platform in itself. So my first point was more around the behavior of kind of the fast paced scrolling. So maybe we can clarify that.
mhm,
Um,
mhm. Yeah, I'm thinking about it all being at least the way I'm thinking about it for this episode, like I'm calling it all scrolling. And yeah, you can be scrolling fast, but then you stop and see something insightful and then go back to scrolling. So I'm putting it all together, this idea of stopping what you're doing and going to these platform and then spending a little time there. And that could be the fast thing, could be the slow thing, could be, typically it's a hybrid. It's, you might start fast and then you encounter something relevant, then you stop and you take your time and vice versa. So yeah, and I think we'll get to the how, and I think that probably will be the next
Mm,
the next episode, detailing the how.
mm.
I think going back to an idea, I think you may have mentioned this earlier about, could this be a little relief? Let's say you're doing something that may be a little challenging or stressful, and you need a little bit of positivity, a little bit of escape, so you can recover a little bit. So that could be a positive thing about this ability to just disconnect from the difficulty, find some insights or some fun things. There is laughter. I mean, there are some hilarious things in out there. We're so creative as people, and of course there are things that aren't so creative, but so yeah, is it okay to escape and go scrolling when we are challenged? And yes, why not? If that gives us a little bit of a relief, and then allow us to take that little break and restore for a bit and then come back, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. When I was, on social media and these platforms, um, I f- I found a lot of joy as well, depending on, let's say, there was a day maybe where I was feeling a little bit down, or nothing seemed to be going as I wanted that day. And I personally love flowers, and kind of that beauty, it just warms my heart to see flowers. Just actually scrolling for pictures of flowers, and just brought a lot of joy actually to my day, and laughter, like you're saying, videos of puppies or things like that. So it's I think it has really, depending on what you're consuming and what you're exposing yourself to, it can bring a lot of really uplifting qualities to the present moment, right?
Mhm.
I think when it becomes problematic is when it turns into just purely avoidance, right? When it becomes a pattern of avoidance, which we'll speak about later,
Mhm.
in another episode.
Mhm.
But there are
Mhm.
there's wonderful inspiration out there, and it I think it also inspires people to try different things. There are a lot of content creators or people posting about teaching people to do things, right? Like tutorials, or new skills, or teaching online, and it gives people this opportunity to, like you were saying, to learn new things, or to get into different activities that they would have never thought they could, or they were able to. So it's really, it's vast, right? It just opens up,
Mhm. Mhm.
possibilities.
Yeah. Yes, and yes. So, and I can see, Sarah, we're both kind of a little bit struggling not to get into the other side. Like, what's what's the what's the cost of this, and how it can easily become an addiction, and this. And I intentionally thought it's good to postpone that, because we usually quickly get into that, and I think there is a positive part that needs to have its space and needs to be put into the picture and not forgotten. And I think because, something I like to use is that scrolling is like a mirror. It reflects some of our deep human needs, And it helps fulfill some of those needs to a certain degree. The need to connect, the need to learn, and to be curious, and to be motivated, and the need to be seen and to share. So there's so much that happens in this, and
Mm.
that's why it became so popular, because it does connect with some very basic needs. So yeah, so I think let's continue with the pause. I think we're probably wrapping up now, but I'm really looking forward to keeping up with this topic. And for now, enjoy scrolling until next episode. Think about the positive things, and yeah, and take advantage of them. And then we'll get into the other side, and also the conclusion, which is how can that become something more thoughtful, and we are in charge instead of the scrolling being in charge.
I think that's a great conclusion for this episode. I don't think I have anything to add on this one. I can't wait for episode 2.
Thank you, and
Yeah.
thank you all who are
Thank you.
listening, and until episode 2.